Well, Senator Mike Crapo saying that he wants changes to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau before considering the renomination of Richard Cordray as its head.
Just one of the issues on the senator's agenda as he takes over is the ranking member of the Senate Banking Committee. Our own Peter Barnes joins us now from Washington for a Fox Business exclusive interview with the senator. Peter.
Well, Cheryl and Dennis, you teed it up perfectly. Senator Crapo is now the top Republican on the Senate Banking Committee and will be doing a lot of heavy lifting there when he takes over the seat formally. And Senator, welcome to Fox Business.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
So what are your priorities now as the ranking Republican on the Banking Committee?
Well, there are a number of them, and I think the top of the list has to be Dodd-Frank legislation, both oversight of the implementation of the rules, as well as legislative fixes to correct the legislation in areas where we can find common ground. Secondly, GSE reform. Fannie and Freddie need to come out of receivership, and we need to figure out what to do with them. And then thirdly, FHA reform is a part of that. And I'd actually like to see us focus very aggressively, in a broad sense, on capital formation. There's too much capital on the sidelines because of what I perceive to be a climate in which business just does not know what the rules are going to be, and the rules that they do know about tend to, in far too many cases, push their capital away from the market rather than into the market.
Do you think you'll be able to work with Democrats on those issues and actually get some consensus and get legislation on these issues out of the committee and to the full Senate?
Yes, I do believe so. Now, obviously, there is a significant amount of gridlock in Congress right now, but the Banking Committee has a history of working together in a bipartisan fashion. That's broken down a little bit in the last couple of Congresses, but Senator Johnson and I have a good working relationship, and I expect us to try to build that back. There will be areas where we can't agree, but there will be areas where we can agree. And I think that we are going to have an opportunity now in this Congress to build some really good bipartisan steps forward in this arena.
Yeah, Senator Tim Johnson, who's the Democratic chairman of the committee. One piece of Dodd-Frank is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Richard Cordray has been renominated by the president to be the director of that agency formally. He was recessed a point last year because Republicans in the Senate blocked that nomination. You don't like this renomination because you'd like to see structural changes in the CFPB. What will it take to get your vote to confirm Richard Cordray formally for that agency?
Well, you've explained it correctly. This issue isn't about Richard Cordray. It's about the agency itself and how it was structured, and the constitutional prerogative of the Senate to advise and consent over properly nominated candidates. I believe there is ground there for us to move forward. The two major concerns that the Republicans have, and as you may recall, there were 44 or 45 of us who signed a letter to this effect in the last Congress, and I expect it to be that strong in this Congress. Our concerns are that the agency has given all of its power to one individual, the director. No board, no commission, and we think that needs to be corrected. And then secondly, there's no congressional oversight once that director is put into place over the budget. And in fact, there's not even any kind of requirement that the financing for that committee or for that agency come from either private sector funding or from the government. The requirement is simply that the director has the ability to tap into the Fed and take the necessary resources that he or she wants. If we can correct those two things, and I think they should be correctable, then I think that you might see more willingness on the part of Republicans to move forward.
But if those fixes don't come, will Republicans, are they prepared to again block that nomination formally?
I can't speak for all of my colleagues, though I have just said I believe that there will be that kind of strength of conviction among the broad majority of the Republican caucus. And the point would be this: we're not prepared to move forward with any nominee. It hasn't got anything to do with the individual person who's at issue right now, Richard Cordray. I don't think we're ready to move forward with any nominee until the agency is restructured and reformed in a way that is proper.
So that sounds like his nomination could be blocked again.
It could be.
The position. All right. Finally, you met with Jack Lew, who the president has nominated as Treasury Secretary. You're on the Finance Committee as well, so you will be hearing from him in his confirmation hearings. How did your meeting go with Jack Lew, and are you ready to cast your vote for him as the next Treasury Secretary?
Well, I'm keeping my vote to myself. I actually haven't made a final decision right now. But we did have a very good meeting. The issues that I have with regard to the Secretary of Treasury, again, regardless of who it is what kind of direction we will get with regard to dealing with our broader fiscal crisis, the debt crisis that we face. I have very strong objections to the direction we've been taking or been getting from the administration, namely increased federal spending, increased stimulus spending, and increased taxes. I think the increased spending and increased taxing approach to our fiscal crisis is wrong. We need to focus on the fact that the problem is in the spending. We need to deal with our entire budget. Everything needs to be on the table, including Medicare, Medicaid, and the entitlement programs, as well as revenue. As I'm sure you know, I'm a strong advocate for a broad-based program, something similar to what the Bowles-Simpson Commission put out. But I want to see a commitment to a pro-growth agenda, too, the kind of reform of our tax code that will make it so that we don't have the most unfair, the most complex, the most expensive to comply with, and the most anti-competitive tax code that we could have conceivably come up with if we tried to do it. And so those kind of reforms are what I'm looking for in terms of the leadership of the Treasury Department.
All right, Senator Mike Crapo, thanks for joining us on Fox Business. We'll be watching. We'll be with you every step of the way on all these important issues. Dennis and Cheryl, back to you.
All right. Thank you, Peter Barnes and Senator Mike Crapo.